find the integer part of root 2 plus 1 whole to the power 6. Root 2 plus 1 whole to the power 6. Okay. So if we expand using the binomial theorem, then we will find the specific value for root 2 plus 1 whole to the power 6. Okay. Now we need to find out only the integer part of this. Okay. Because for root 2, the value of root 2 is something like 1.41 something plus 1, so that means 2.41 something. If we expand this value till power of 6, then we will obviously will get some fractional value. Okay, fractional value, I mean the something like this. I mean integer and fractional both value will get. Okay, but here question is to find out only the integer part. For example, if we get this value like something like this, 196.25 something like this, if we get, okay, so that means the integer portion of this. If we get this value something like this, okay, 197.2 point something like this, so that means the integer part 1.197.25. so this portion we need to find out. Okay, we can easily find the value using the calculator, because root 2, we know that root 2 is something like 1.414 something like this plus 1. Okay, so that means if we expand the power of 6, then this is 2.414 whole to the power 16 6, so that means it will obviously definitely it will give some value. Okay, it will obviously will give some value, but our aim is to calculate only the finding the integer part without using calculator. Without using calculator, you have to find out the integer part only. So how will you find? Okay, so since 2 root 2 plus 1, so root 2 plus 1 whole to the power 6 is a positive number. Okay, and it's obviously it's more than, I mean greater than the root 2 plus 1 is value, obviously greater than equal to 2, but less than equal to 3. Okay, so that means it will not be the integer part, only integer. It will have some integer fractional part. Okay, the floating value, that means it will have some floating value. So let it has two parts. Okay, let it has two parts. One is the integer part and other is the fractional part. So that means the integer part plus fractional part. For what kind of this? For example, something like this, if something's value is 1.25, so that means integer part is 1, fractional part is 25.25. Integer part is 1 and fractional part is 0.25. So something like this will get this. Okay, so let the integer part of root 2 plus 1 whole to the power 6 is I, and fractional part of this is, for example, f1. Okay, so I plus f1, obviously I plus f1, what will be this? Root 2 plus 1 whole to the power 6. If we expand the value of root 2 plus 1 whole to the power 6, then we will get the two part. One is the integer part and another part is the fractional part. So our aim is to find this only the integer part. This integer part we need to find out without using calculator. So if we, so that we can write I plus f1 equals this. Okay, where f1 obviously greater than 0 and less than 1, as it is a fraction. 0 less than f1, 0 less than 1, 0 less than f1 less than 1, since it is the fractional part. So we can write I plus f1 equals root 2 plus 1 to the power 6. Now how will we find it, the integer part? Okay, let's think about this. Okay, let's consider its conjugate parts. Apni root 2 minus 1, root 5, root 2 plus 1, we can consider this root 2 minus 1 whole to the power 6. Okay. Now root 2 minus 1 whole to the power 6. We know the value of root 2 near about 1.414 minus 1. So that means it is the inner value of root 2 minus 1 is the fractional part. So that means something fraction and something 414 something like this. This is this. So since it is the fractional part, so that means after expanding this root 2 minus 1, obviously its value will be fractional part. Okay, let 2 it is f2. Correct? Because since this is the fractional part, if we multiply 4 on 4 into 4 on 4, then obviously it will be a fractional part. It will not cross the value of 1. Okay, so that means we can consider f2 as root 2 minus whole to the power 6. So let it write f2 equals root 2 minus 1 whole to the power 6. Oh, so that means this is the first equation and this is the second equation. If we add those two equations, that means I plus f1 plus f2, obviously f2 less than f2 is a fractional part, it will be in between 0 and 1. So I plus f1 plus f2, what will be this? I plus f1 equal to root 2 plus 1 whole to the power 6 plus root 2 minus 1 whole to the power 6. Now we can see this is the kind of binomial equation. Okay, so that means we can easily expand this equation binomically. Okay, so if we expand this equation binomically, what will we get? We will get something like this 2 underscore 2 6 c0, because the index of this 6 and 6 c0 root 2 whole to the power 6 6c 2, because you will get the even power only, even term only, 62 power 4 plus 6c4 root 2 power 2 plus 6c6 root 2 power 0. Correct? Now let's expand this, calculate this value. This is 2, this is 6c0 means 1. Correct? Because 6c0 6c0 is factorial 6 by factorial 6 minus 0. That means factorial 6 by factorial 6 equals 1. Okay, so that means 6c0 equals 1, and root under 6. Root under 6 means this is 2 to the power half power 6 plus 62 means 6 into 5 by 1 into 2 root 2 root 2 power 4 mean 2 to the power half whole to the power 4 plus 6c4. So let me factorial 6 by factorial 2. It is equals this is also equals 6 factorial 6 factorial 62 and 64 equal to the same using this formula. So that means this is also equals 6 5 by 1 2 root 2 square mean 2 root 2 square mean into 2 and 6 is 6 mean factorial 6 by factorial 0. This means sorry 246 factorial 6 by factorial 6. This will be factorial 0 0 by this. So that means 6c. This is because factorial 6 fact 6 is equal to 6c0. 6c0 equal to 1 into root under 2 to the power 0 to the power 0. So if it is 2, this means 2 cube means 8 plus 6 5, this is 3, will become 15, and 2 power 2, that means 4 plus 6, this is also 15 into 2 plus 1 root 2 power 0 1, this means 1. So this is 2 8 plus 60 plus 30 plus 1. So this is equal 60, 30, 90, 98, 99. 2 into 99, this is equals 1, 198. Correct? So what the number we get is I plus 1 plus I plus F plus F2. I plus F1 plus F2 equals 198. Now there is some trick. Okay, what is the trick? Now let me remove the calculation part so that it will be easy to make you understand how will you get the integer. Okay, now so that means I plus F1 plus F2, this is equals 198. Okay, see, this is the integer part. We need to consider very carefully. This is the integer part we already have taken. This is the integer part, and this is the fraction part, right? F1 is also fraction, F2 is also fraction. So this is the fractional part, but the integer part and fractional part both are equals to integer plus integer, the summation of integer part and fractional part, this is equal to, got 198. So since it is the integer, 198 is the integer part. So obviously if it is the integer part, so it cannot be the f1 and f2 cannot be the fractional part, cannot be the fractional value. So f1 and f2 must be an integer value, otherwise you cannot get this 198, because integer part plus fractional part is integer part. So therefore obviously f1 and f2 will be integer part. Okay, but f1 and f2 cannot be 0. Okay, so what it, the value will be there, the f1 and f2 value. Since it is the fractional part f1, let's consider one thing. For example, we don't know the what is the fractional f1 value is then what is the f2 value is this. Let's say the maximum value, let's say maximum value f1 is 0.99, 0.99. Okay, and f2 also 0.99. If we add the value, both two values, okay, then it will not be greater than 2. f1 plus f2, it cannot be greater than 2. Sorry, it cannot be greater than 2. Obviously it will be less than 2, whatever the value, whatever the case. In whatever the case, f1 and f2 value cannot be greater than 4. It will always be less than 4. Less than 2. If f1 and f2 maximum value, for example 0.999 also, then also f1 plus f2 always be less than 2, and obviously it will be greater than 0. So that means 0 less than equal to f1 plus f2 less than 2. This will be the range of f1 plus f2 value. But since it is the integer part, so obviously that will be also the integer part. Otherwise we cannot get this 198 value, because this is the integer. There is no fractional part. Correct? There is no fractional part. So that means f1 and f2 must be integer part. The value summation of the fractional 1 and fractional 2 will be, the first fraction and the second fraction will be the 1. And since it is 0 to 1, so obviously it will be the value of 1. So that means f1 plus f2 will be 1. f1 plus f2, both the fractional summation of the fractional value will be 1. So that means what will be the I? The I will be 198 plus minus 1, this is equal to 197. So that means the fractional part of root 2 plus 1 whole to the power thing will be 197 point something. So that means the integer part will be 197. Okay. So that means it will be the 197. It may be 197.123 something like this, 0.9, 0.12 something like this. We need to calculate the value using calculator also. We can find out the value of root 2 plus 1 whole to the power 6 equal to something. But it will be obviously 197 point something. So that means the integer part of this value is 197. And this is very interesting topic.